Welcome back, everyone, to Rudy's Rant. We talk facts over feelings. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. I have a reaction today to a video I saw from a podcast called The Fumble. Now, I'm new to their podcast, but I found the commentary on this particular topic to be interesting because we've been having this conversation over the past week. Some people are taking it a little bit too personally. Some people are getting a little too sensitive about this, about it, and all. And what I heard in this particular podcast was something that I found to be a perspective that, let's just face facts. It's one that is true. It's simply true. Now, I don't agree with all of what was said in this video, and I will point out the things that I don't agree with because I know them to be factually untrue. But there's a good chunk of it that is true. And I'm going to comment on that. But before we begin, thank you so much for your support of our channels. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do subscribe. Like the video, hit that like button, hit the bell so you get all the up-to-the-minute updates. And of course, jump on over to Come On Now, the podcast, and subscribe over there, become a member. Really greatly appreciate you, man. Try and build up this content. I know I'm a little slower with this one because the other ones are rolling a lot more, but I thank you again for being on with me and checking out what we got to say here. So let's jump on into this. So let's jump in on this video and I will give my feedback as it goes.
Hey, this can be an uncomfortable fumble of the week, but I'm going to try not to let it be.
Okay.
Last college women's basketball season, Samaria, Caitlin Clark had the sport by the throat. Iowa women's basketball was must-see TV, and if they were in a town, it was packed out in that arena, okay? The fan investment into Caitlin followed her to the WNBA, and viewership numbers for her games were sky high. Her mere presence alone helped several teams break attendance records, and in some instances, teams chose to actually move games to larger venues to accommodate the fanfare of Caitlin coming to town. Coming into this season, the big...
All facts. All facts. So he's speaking in facts. And the same thing happened in the WNBA in her rookie year.
Biggest name in women's college basketball is unquestionably JuJu Watkins. The star from USC.
Let's go back.
JuJu Watkins. The star... Coming into this season, the biggest name in women's college basketball is unquestionably JuJu Watkins.
Is it unquestionably JuJu Watkins? No, it's not. It's not. See, that's where off the rip where we're gonna go into a created storyline. Since when did JuJu Watkins become a bigger name than Paige Beckers? I'm not even a Paige Beckers fan. I can't stand Gino Auriemma. I actually like JuJu Watkins' preference. I prefer JuJu Watkins over Paige Beckers. But are we lying already where we're saying she's unquestionably the biggest star in women's college basketball this year? How can you say that? That off the rip is completely not, that's an opinion. If you believe that, you can go ahead and believe that. I think the biggest star in women's college basketball is Paige Beckers this year. In terms of notoriety, fanfare, etc. Do I think Paige Beckers is the best player? No, I don't. That's up for debate. You can debate that with a number of players. But I don't agree with that comment about she being unquestionably the biggest star in women's college basketball. That means there's no doubt. How is there no doubt? But let's continue.
The star from USC is the front runner for player of the year, and her team is on a very...
How can she be the front runner for player of the year? The season just started. I'm sorry. How can she be the front runner for player of the year when the season just started? In fact, if you look at the numbers through 6 games, she's not the front runner for player of the year. Not even, she probably isn't in the top 5 right now. Could that change? Absolutely, it could change. Through the first 6 or 7 games, I can argue that at least 4 or 5 players are better than her right now. And I would feel comfortable taking that. Flage is better than her right now. Paige is better than her right now. Lauren Betts is better than her right now. Hannah Hidalgo is better than her right now. That's 4. The girl at TCU, the big at TCU, I forgot her name. She's better than her right now. You might want to argue that Haley Van Lith is better than her right now this season. I'm not saying she's not a better player than them. She might very well be. But I'm using what we have right now, the data that we have at the moment, and how she is playing in comparison to how they are playing.
Very short list of programs with a legitimate shot to win a title. JuJu's game is absolutely cold. Currently, she's averaging 21, 7, and 5. And I mean, no intent to sexualize her at all when I say this, but she is also drop dead gorgeous.
Why does that matter? Shit, I know why it matters. Marketing, right? Yeah. Marketing, that's marketing. She's drop dead gorgeous. You just sexualized her, bro. I don't want to sexualize her. You just changed the discussion from basketball to her looks. It's interesting. You just changed the entire conversation. Her game is cold. What makes it cold? What makes her game so cold? She's averaging 21, 7, and 5. Newsflash, those are way down. Those numbers are way down from last season. So she's cold. And I'm not saying she's not really, really good. But this is the narrative being pushed. She's cold. Paige Beckers is shooting 21% better than her from the field. Paige is a 5'11 guard. JuJu 6'2". Flage is shooting 12% better than her. She's a 5'10 guard. Hannah Hidalgo is a 5'8 guard shooting 8% better than her. And don't get me into the Lauren Betts conversation, who's shooting 30% better than her. But the first 3, they all play similarly. They shoot from the perimeter. They go to the basket. They're all very similar in style. But maybe it's cold. Okay. All right.
But none of that has translated into the kind of excitement and fan investment that Caitlin had just a season ago. So listen up.
The reason being is because her game isn't as cold as you think. Her game is not as cold as you think. She has a game that we have seen from player after player after player before her. I've heard the comparisons to Maya Moore. So if you're comparing her to Maya Moore, we've seen her game before. Right? We've seen it before. Again, I'm not disparaging her. She's a very good player. But don't sit here and make a statement that's just factually untrue. It's factually untrue. What you're saying, what you're saying, and you're entitled to, it's your opinion. And we've all got one. But don't speak them as facts. I will give you data to defend my opinion. You're not giving data to defend anything at this moment. And I've seen this whole video, folks, so it gets better.
In a Trojan home game in JuJu's hometown of LA, a city with 4 million people, in an arena with 10,000 capacity, only 3,000 people showed up.
That's a fact, all right? That's a fact. But I'm going to give you a better one. A city with 4 million people, a metropolitan area with 18 million people. I want to give you a comparison because I think it's really unfair with this. The thing that they're saying the city is 4 million people. Look, I'm from Dade County, Florida, Miami-Dade County, Florida. I wasn't born in Miami. I was born in Miami Beach. People think of Miami and they just use the term South Beach, which is the stupidest thing on earth. Drives me crazy. South Beach isn't even a city. It's an area of Miami Beach. The city is Miami Beach. Miami Beach is not technically Miami, but it's still Miami. It's the greater Miami area. The city of Miami has about 450,000 people. The city limits. I don't know what the population of the city limits of Los Angeles is. But I know when I look at a map, Beverly Hills is a city, right? It's LA. Right? That's LA. No one's going to sit here and say that's not LA. To anyone, that's LA. So, another one, Compton. Compton is a city in Los Angeles County. Pasadena, Glendale, Malibu, Inglewood, Burbank. I'm just reading them off of a screen right here. Hollywood, West Hollywood. Like, these are all East LA, Calabasas. Like, these are all cities within Los Angeles County. And Los Angeles County has 10 million people. I live in Miami. City of Miami is in Miami-Dade County. In Miami-Dade County, for which everyone on the outside will refer to as Miami, guess what? There's about 2.8 million people in Miami-Dade County. It's a fraction of the size of Los Angeles County. And the metropolitan area of Los Angeles is about 18 million, whereas the metropolitan area of Miami-Dade, Broward County, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach County, is about 6 million plus. And you know how far West Palm Beach is from downtown Miami? Over an hour. It's like driving, you feel like you're driving for days. And God forbid you get caught in traffic, probably 2 hours. Downtown West Palm Beach to my house, and I live in North Broward County right now, Pompano Beach, Florida, is 45 minutes away. And downtown Miami from my house is 45 minutes away with no traffic. So let's use the real numbers, because Compton isn't. In fact, where is USC located? USC is not that far. It's 12 miles from Compton. USC to Beverly Hills is 10 miles. Like, come on. USC to Malibu is 26 miles. That is less, that is a shorter distance than my house to downtown Miami. How about Calabasas? That's 31 miles. That's still shorter than my house to downtown Miami. My house to downtown Miami is about 45, 50 miles. So what I'm saying to you is, using the number of 4 million and they only got 3,000 in there. Yeah, I know. They got a metro of 18 million. How far is UCLA to USC? UCLA is 13 and a half miles. Like, come on, man. Let's keep going.
Iowa's preseason games last year had more fans than that. Now, granted, I recognize that it is very early in the season, and their last two opponents were mid-majors, but it doesn't feel like the world and mainstream media has embraced.
Their last opponent at home was Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Okay? Notre Dame, I just saw Ben Daniel did a number where the viewership TV was like 450,000 for the last Notre Dame game. And then the game versus USC was like 520,000. That's a good number. Who's moving the needle there? Was it Notre Dame? Because Notre Dame has a following. Or was it USC? Was it JuJu or was it Hidalgo? Seems like it was Hidalgo. Because Notre Dame got almost 450,000 viewers for their game just before the game with USC. But notice the excuses are already being made. It's early. It's early.
Embraced her quite like it did Caitlyn. And so my fumble of the week is going to JuJu Watkins fans who only support her online via tweets. Samaria, my question for you is, why does it feel like JuJu isn't moving the needle the same way that Caitlyn did and does?
Okay. Ooh, that's tough. I'm hearing this for the first time, guys. I think for one,
I'll stop before she even starts. She's not moving the needle because at the moment, this moment in time, this is reality. At this moment in time, JuJu Watkins' game isn't groundbreaking. JuJu Watkins' game doesn't open your eyes. And that goes the same for so many players in women's college basketball. There's nothing that any of these players do. And it's not to discredit their ability. If you see a guy go to the NBA who can dunk, are you wowed? No, you don't care. Why? Because NBA players dunk all the time, right? They play dunk all the time. They can dunk. If you go see an NBA player and they shoot a 28-footer, are you mesmerized? Unless his name is Steph Curry or Dame Lillard, like being mesmerized by it? No, you've seen it 1,000 times. It's part of today's NBA game. Taking too many threes from deep distance, most of which are bad shots, many of which go in, but you're not shocked or awed by it. You don't get shocked or awed until you see someone like LeBron. LeBron, early on in his career, was awe. Well, like, my God, this guy is a freak. He's unbelievable. And even then, he didn't have the impact on the NBA that Caitlin Clark has had on the WNBA or had on college basketball. We were cheated out of LeBron James in college because I would have loved to have seen LeBron James in college. My God, what he would have done in college. It would have been a clinic. It would have been a clinic. But like the next guy that we were like, oh my God, what this guy might do was Zion Williamson, and all he is hurt. He's always hurt. He's always hurt. So you still haven't got to see what Zion Williamson can actually do. But there's never been a player, there's no player in women's basketball that sits here like, oh my God, did you see what she did? I love Flau'jae Johnson completely. I think Flau'jae is a badass. I love her swag. I love her style. I love her game. I love how she's a dog. But there's nothing about Flau'jae Johnson's game that is mesmerizing or like, oh my God, can you believe that? No. She's just really freaking good. And that's what JuJu Watkins is. She's really freaking good. That's what Paige Beckers is. She's really freaking good. So it's like, I'm not downing, but their direction here it's intriguing. And where it goes, it's just like, But let's keep going.
You got to remember that Caitlin Iowa went pretty far both years that she was.
Let's stop her right there off the bat. See, she shows a lack of knowledge in basketball. USC went to the Elite Eight last year. USC went to the Elite Eight last year. And before she's going to go there and sit here and say that I'll let her keep playing. USC went to the Elite Eight. They were a game from the Final Four. They lost to UConn. They lost to Paige Beckers. Keep that in mind.
She had this stardom. So obviously she lost to LSU in the championship game, and then she came back the next year and it was just crazy.
All right. I'm going to stop her because she's ignoring Caitlin Clark's junior year. Caitlin Clark's junior year, the home attendance average at Iowa was 10,742. All right, that's number one. Remember this, Caitlin Clark's freshman season was COVID. Remember that. Her freshman year at Iowa was played under COVID restrictions. No one went to the games. They have attendances of 300 because there was limited availability to watch a game. NBA games had 400 people, 1,000 people, because they had to sit miles apart. I had season tickets to the Miami Heat. I gave them up. I got a refund for that year because I wasn't going to go to a game under COVID restrictions. It was stupid. It was uninteresting. So her first year as a freshman, there were no fans. Her second year, the numbers were a bit different. Her second year, her sophomore year, which is where we are right now with JuJu Watkins, Iowa averaged 7,403 fans in their home building. That was Caitlin Clark's second year. The difference being, no one opened the door for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark opened the door for Caitlin Clark. So don't give me this shit about Angel Reese 2 years later. I don't want to hear about that shit. Not to mention, Caitlin Clark's junior year, she averaged over 10,700. She averaged 10,742 fans per game at home. She had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games, 9 in which they drew at Iowa more fans than the USC building can hold. All right? That was before she ever saw Angel Reese. So you see how the slick Willy fucking way of this is being done? So you ignored the actual data and the facts. She drew 8,227 people at home for Iowa versus Belmont. Belmont. She drew 13,394 at home against Northern Iowa. I get it. They're in Iowa as well. She drew almost 14,000 people for people to watch her play in Northern Iowa. 11,942 versus Purdue. 12,436 another game. 13,843. 10,671. 13,150. 10,512. Last game of the year, 15,056. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight games. They had over 10,512 fans in their home building. This is before the NCAA tournament run. This is before she ever saw Angel Reese. There was no antagonist. There was no, what do you call it? Face, heel, WWE wrestling dynamic, a face versus a heel. Didn't exist yet. It didn't exist. This was her junior year. Why? Because around January is when people started noticing, who the hell is this girl who shoots from 30? Remember, Caitlin Clark averaged damn near 27 as a freshman. As a freshman or a freshwoman. And as a freshman, I want to remind you that you know who won Freshman of the Year in college women's basketball? The year that Paige and Caitlin Clark were both freshmen? Paige Beckers won it. Paige Beckers won it, averaging 20 points, 5.8 assists, and 4.9 rebounds. That same year, Caitlin Clark averaged 26.6 points, 7.1 assists, and 5.9 rebounds. And somehow, Paige Beckers wins National Player of the Year along with Freshman of the Year. Now, Caitlin was given first team All-American. There's that second team All-American. But yeah. The player who led the country in scoring, led her conference in assists, wins no awards because there was a love affair from high school that people had for Paige Beckers. Everyone knew who Paige Beckers was. And she played at UConn. And they went, I think, to the Final Four of the national championship that year. Let me look. They went to the Final Four. They lost in the Final Four. And that's because Paige Beckers played for UConn. Not because Paige Beckers was better than Caitlin Clark. She still isn't better than Caitlin Clark. She never was better than Caitlin Clark. But Paige Beckers won these awards over Caitlin Clark. Despite the fact that Caitlin Clark had better numbers across the board. Shit, this sounds familiar. This sounds like the bullshit. This sounds like the bullshit with the U.S. Olympic team selection. With Caitlin Clark. Oh, she's not physical enough. Yet she has better numbers across the board than every guard that was on that team. Across the board. At the time of selection. Paige Bueckers got a gifted decision for these awards because she went to UConn and because everyone knew who she was coming in, because she was being crowned the queen coming in as a freshman. I remember it. I remember the hype behind Paige Bueckers. And look, her career unfortunately has dealt with some major injuries, and that sucks. But when she wasn't injured, her freshman year, she wasn't better than Caitlin Clark. And yeah, she had a better team because she plays with 10 McDonald's All-Americans. Caitlin Clark wasn't playing with players like that. But let's keep going.
Also had an antagonist, right?
Okay.
In Angel Reese when she was playing. And so I think that allowed, unfortunately, and I hate that allowed a lot of people to want to root for her. And so I don't think that JuJu has that storyline. So maybe she can get it. I don't know. Like,
all right, I'm gonna stop this again. I'm sick of this already. This is already making me irritated. Again, you ignored her junior year. You ignored her sophomore year because right now we're in JuJu's sophomore year. And JuJu's home crowds are 3,000. Facts. 3,000. Outside of Notre Dame, and I can pull it up for you. Happy to tell you more about it. Outside of Notre Dame, which drew 7,800, I believe it was, which is still well short of a sellout for two teams in the top 7. And clearly probably brought in large part because of Notre Dame and not because of JuJu Watkins and USC. This is not just JuJu Watkins. This is just USC. They play in LA. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. And that's the sad. Just nobody cares. Like, we can call it what it is. Nobody gives a damn. That's the reality. Nobody cares. LA's there's so much. It's like Miami. There's so much crap to do. Nobody gives a damn. Let me find this. USC schedule. They played Ole Miss in Paris. They played Cal Poly at home. 5,215 people. Halfway empty. Cal Poly is probably right down. I don't even know where's Cal Poly located? Cal Poly is located in it looks like about 2 hours north of LA. San Luis Obispo. A game they won by 55. Then they played Cal State Northridge, another California team. 3,064. Where's Cal State Northridge? Oh, Cal State Northridge is in Los Angeles. So you had two Los Angeles teams playing each other, and they had 3,064 people. So that leads me to believe that the game before that against, that leads me to deduce, because the Cal Poly game was a Saturday, and that drew 5,200. Cal Poly people drove their asses down from San Luis Obispo to watch this game. And the LA people didn't give two shits about the game versus Cal State Northridge. They played Santa Clara. That was their next game. 3,594. Where's Santa Clara? Santa Clara is obviously in Cal. It's outside San Jose, so that's a bit of a distance. That's a distance. But 3,594. That was a Friday night game. Then they get Notre Dame, and they have 7,894, still short of a sellout. And then they played yesterday against Seton Hall in Palm Desert, which is an hour and a half to 2 hours from Los Angeles, and they didn't have 500 people in the building. They didn't have 500 people in there. 2 hours from their home city. Come on, man. Please. Coachella's right next door to where that basketball game was played. And they get 125,000 people every day during that festival. But you can't draw you draw 500, less than 500 people to see the person who's supposedly according to Dude, would I don't know, is that New, I don't know if it's a New Jersey hat or what kind of hat that is, but according to Dude, I don't know your name, sir. That's why I say Dude. The face of college basketball, without a doubt. And this one here is running her mouth about how there's a bunch of excuses. There's a bunch of reasons.
Like maybe, I mean, race plays a factor in it too. I hate to go there, but I think that she just doesn't have.
Did race play a factor? Sure, of course it does. Yeah. I'm not gonna deny that race didn't play a factor in the rivalry of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, but it had nothing to do with why people in Iowa went to go watch Caitlin Clark play. It had nothing to do with why people in Jersey, when she played Rutgers in her senior year, went to go watch her play. Like that's what you're missing. That's what they're both missing, and they don't want to see it. The JuJu Watkins fans are the fumble of the week. Newsflash: there aren't any real JuJu Watkins fans. There are a lot of black people, bluntly, who will jump online and call every fucking non-black person a racist who doesn't suck off JuJu Watkins. I've been dealing with it today, back and forth with individuals. Post a picture of an empty building, and I get a bunch of videos calling Caitlin Clark a dirty player. Or showing me a video, a photo of when she played in Estero, Florida last year. Folks, Estero, Florida has 37,000 people. It's on the Gulf Coast, and it's a retirement community. And the building seated 7,100, and they had 3,400 in the building to watch Iowa in a retirement community in Florida. It wasn't 2 hours from Iowa City. There's a reason people went to go watch Caitlin Clark play every fucking where she went. Every road game, capacity max. Obviously, every home game her senior year, filled to the brim. Look at what happened in the WNBA. What did that had nothing to do with Angel Reese. That's what, like, you want to talk about an individual game to game? They played twice. They split. One happened to win in the national championship. One team happened to win in the national championship, and one won in the Elite Eight. And we know why LSU won that game in the national championship. They went bananas from three-point range, which had nothing to do with Angel Reese. Zero. Yes, she was a large part of why they got there, but she wasn't the reason they won that championship game. But sitting here, JuJu Watkins doesn't need an antagonist. She needs to do shit that we have never seen before. Because some of the biggest fans that I know of Caitlin Clark are black men. So when I said black, I'm largely talking about black women. Yeah, you don't like what I gotta say? I don't give a fuck. I'm largely speaking on black women who are on message boards. Yakety, yakety, yakety. Are you going to a game? Or are you the same person that talks shit in the WNBA and you don't go to games there either? Yakety, yakety, yakety. Put your money where your mouth is. Put your money where your mouth is. Yes, there are more white people in America. No shit. No shit. And there are more women than men in America. And guess what? Who's carrying women's basketball? Who's carrying the viewership of women's basketball? Men, not women. Because women are good at talking about shit and not doing shit. Men are buying tickets. We can be real. Most women don't like sports. And most women know that women's basketball really isn't all that good. Not enjoyable to watch for the most part. When you compare it to men's basketball. At the same time, who's taking their daughters to these games? Men. The wife is saying, or the mother is saying, you take her to the basketball game. I don't want to go to that shit. That's what happens. That's what happens. It's the truth. You don't need an antagonist for JuJu Watkins. You need her to start doing some oh my God shit that we've never seen before. That's what we need to start seeing. You start seeing that, Who knows? Because Caitlin Clark was doing the same shit her sophomore year that she did her junior year. And she was doing the same shit her freshman year that she did her sophomore year and her junior year. She led the country in scoring as a freshman. And yet had the better numbers compared to the Paige Beckers across the board and did not win Player of the Year or Freshman of the Year. Paige did. Because people knew who Paige was. People know who JuJu Watkins is. Let's not lie. People know who she is. They've known who she is. Why? Because Caitlin Clark opened the door for everyone to know who she is, who Hidalgo is, who Lauren Betts is, who Angel Reese opened the door probably for Flau'jae Johnson because she was on the team before. They're teammates. But even that, like, Caitlin Clark opened the door for so many of these players to be known, for you to see them. Who the fuck knew who Camila Cardoso was? She was a backup the year that Iowa beat South Carolina in the Final Four. She was Aaliyah Boston's backup. Bro, I'm sorry. You can. There's no antagonist necessary for JuJu Watkins. Her numbers this year have gone down. Fact. It's the pressure that's been put on her by media members who want her to be better than Caitlin Clark, largely black media members. It is what it is. Listening to fucking Monica McNutt and Carmelo Anthony call her Michael Jordan. That Angel Reese is Magic and Caitlin Clark is Bird and JuJu Watkins is Jordan? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? First of all, Angel Reese ain't Magic. Because Magic Johnson was a ball player. Magic Johnson was a monster player. Magic Johnson won NBA championship as a rookie and was finals MVP as a rookie in the NBA. Angel Reese ain't that. Come on, man. Please, let's keep going.
Have that same storyline. Like everything lined up perfectly for Caitlin to be this all-American superstar. For one, she's always on SportsCenter because she's made some crazy shot. And for two,
boom, stop right there. Boom, stop right there. See, it lined up perfectly. No, it didn't line up perfectly. She's the reason it lined up perfectly. See, you're discrediting her. This is literally her being discredited by this woman here. She's being discredited. Are you hearing it? It lined up perfectly for her, as if someone set this up to make Caitlin Clark a star. Newsflash, people don't give a shit about women's basketball, or didn't, in large part, until the last 2 years because of Caitlin Clark. But you hit it right here. I'm gonna back that up about 5 seconds right here, where she says it clearly.
she's made some crazy shot.
Because she's made some crazy shots. That's why she came out. That's why people like, oh my God. Those are the oh my God moments. Those are the moments that you've never seen from a women's basketball player before. Is those crazy shots. That's where I first saw Caitlin Clark. ESPN, SportsCenter, top 10. Oh my God. Where is this girl shooting from? We've never seen this before. So everything after here, what you say, you can stop right there. That's where it started. And that was before she ever played Angel Reese. That was before the tournament. That was before the Big Ten tournament. That was mid-season junior year, where the attendance numbers exploded at Iowa. Had nothing to do with Angel Reese. Zero.
And for two, she lost in the championship game. Like I just mentioned, everybody remembers Angel, talking about the ring. And that is a perfect storyline for people to eat it up. You're going to be on one side or the other. And I also think that just her fans rose to the occasion and they came out of the woodwork. So I do agree that JuJu's fans should.
Her fans came out of the woodwork? What are you talking about? They rose to the occasion. They rose to the occasion. I wonder if either of these two have been to one USC game. I wonder, have they been to one USC game with JuJu Watkins? Did they go to the Notre Dame game last week? I'm curious. I'm curious. Genuinely wondering if they've been to any USC JuJu Watkins games. I'm going to say probably not. But I'd love to hear that they have, because at least they're putting their money where their mouth is. Because it's real good to talk. How many games of JuJu Watkins at USC has Carmelo Anthony been to? I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, maybe he has. Maybe he has. But don't sit here with this nonsense. We put 3,000 people in a building that sees over 10,000 in a metro area of 18 million and sit here and call someone the absolute guaranteed face, unequivocally the face of women's college basketball. And of course, you didn't want to sexualize it, but you sure as shit did, because you had to talk about her looks. Here's reality. Caitlin Clark is a regular ass looking girl. Not what I would consider attractive. I think JuJu Watkins is very attractive. No question about it. She's a very pretty girl. No question. So Caitlin Clark looks like some run-of-the-mill white girl that you see in the middle of middle America, who you would never turn your head to look at in a big city if she walked right by you. And yet she captivated so many people because of her skill. And no one has ever said anything to sexualize Caitlin Clark, because she's nothing. She's what you call sexy. I'm not trying to be mean to her. I'm saying this is my personal opinion in physical looks. I watch her hoop. There are plenty of dudes out there that watch Angel Reese because they wish they could date Angel Reese. There might be plenty of dudes out here there are dudes that will dumb themselves down, even though they know basketball, and make it and say Angel Reese is great, even though they know that 39% from the field is fucking embarrassing for a 6'3" big who shoots nothing but layups and can't make a layup half the time. Like, come on. But sitting here and jeez.
Should get Fumble of the Week, because they need to stand up too. But I think nationally, maybe that's the reason why she doesn't have the level of stardom like Caitlin Clark did.
Nationally, I can understand it. I wouldn't expect her to show up in Wisconsin and, for the fanfare to be what it was for Caitlin in Wisconsin.
Why not? Why not, dude? But that's what makes someone generational. That's what makes someone the face. If Paige Beckers and UConn go play Iowa or Indiana in Indiana, I guarantee that building is full. I don't even like Paige Beckers. I can't stand UConn. That building's going to be full. She is more the face of women's basketball than JuJu Watkins is right now. I'm sorry. She was such a face of women's basketball her freshman year that she won an award she didn't deserve. Deserve? No, the award she didn't earn. She won it because of a popularity contest and where she played. Because if she had played anywhere else, Caitlin Clark is the National Player of the Year 3 times. Who the hell won National Player of the Year in Caitlin Clark's in her sophomore year? Player of the Year, 2022. I think it was Aaliyah Boston. Shit. Aaliyah Boston won National Player of the Year in a season in which Caitlin Clark led the country in scoring and assists. Can you imagine? Caitlin Clark should be a 4-time National Player of the Year. And the only reason she wasn't was because she was not popular coming out of high school. And because she did not play on a team that went to the national championship. That's the reality. She played at a school that was not much known for being a basketball powerhouse. Caitlin Clark, numerically, data, should have been a 4-time National Player of the Year. But Caitlin Clark's fans didn't come out of the woodwork. We saw some crazy shit, and we're like, oh my God, she's unbelievable. This is the craziest crap I've ever seen from a woman. It's amazing. I'm sorry, I've talked a whole lot here, and I only played 3 minutes and 39 seconds of this video.
Wisconsin, but in her city, in LA, I would expect more of a raucous turnout for her games, regardless of who she is playing against. And this is kind of why I always say, like, social media is not a real indicator of the real world, because it's a terrible barometer to measure how someone is actually impacting things, right? Because if you go online, you'll see fanfare, you'll see all these things, but if it does not translate to actual butts and seats, if it does not actually translate to physical sales, then it's a farce. And sometimes in our community, we get so caught up in the bubble of what we see by our very curated algorithms that we think that what we are doing is of the utmost importance and is of the thing that the masses are aligned with. It's how the election last week was just decided, right? Like, nobody by and large in our community foresaw the election going quite that way, but because we were in this curated bubble, we had no understanding of the true impact and effect of what Donald Trump had on the rest of this country. And so a lot of the conversation around Caitlin last year was that she's not the only one. There's other people, and JuJu's going to be able to drive the same kind of, and it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like that. And whiteness is so overwhelming. There's so many more white people in this country. And when they take an investment into somebody, they actually show up. And unfortunately, sometimes in our community, we do lip service and we do Twitter finger service, but we don't actually show up in a real meaningful way, in a way that is tangible, that creates tangible results for the person that we say that we love so much. Listen, I'm a fan. I love JuJu. I see her sometimes around LA. I think she's spectacular. I think from a basketball standpoint, she's brilliant. She had a historical season last year. She'll probably have another one this year. Her team is phenomenal. They have some great transfers and some freshmen that are coming in. And I hope that she has all the success in the world. But there is something to be said about the fact that we are not showing up the way that we be saying online that we are. And that's all I got to say. That's why the fans get the Fumble of the Week. You all let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Is there something to be said about the way that Black fans are showing up or not showing up for JuJu, rather, which is very different than the way white fans did for Caitlin? Let us know your thoughts about this in the comment section. I am really interested to hear your perspectives.
All right. I thank the Fumble. I like that podcast. I don't agree with them, but I like it. And I like the realness of the guy at the end. I like his realness. I think the woman, she said something that was on point, and then she tried to change it. Because I know why people started watching Caitlin Clark, was because they couldn't believe that a woman could shoot from that distance. It was at Steph Curry parking lot range. That's what it was. It was like, oh my God. And then you're finding out, my gosh, she's an unbelievable passer. She looks like LeBron, a female LeBron James passing the ball. Like, it's like you've never seen it before. What mesmerizes you about LeBron when he was younger? His power, his vision, the fact that he could replay like a recorder every play that happened in the fourth quarter of a game and tell you exactly what happened. That's like, this guy's a drone. He's not human. And that's what you see from Caitlin Clark, with that ability to shoot from that distance, her ability to control a game, passing and scoring, while doing it with players that are not anywhere nearly as talented as the players that even JuJu Watkins is playing with. Let's be real. Let's be real. Who is projected as the number 2 pick in next year's women's draft? It's one of JuJu Watkins' teammates. It's one of her teammates. Their team picked up a whole bunch of players. They have a more talented team this year than last year. But her teammate, Kiki Iriafen, is projected as the number 2 pick in the draft next season, 2025. That's her teammate. So she's playing next to someone who's arguably going to be an All-American. There's no All-Americans that were playing next to Caitlin Clark at Iowa her senior year. There's no player who was projected to be a top 2 pick. Heck, Gabby Marshall's in grad school probably. She's not even playing professional basketball. That was Caitlin Clark's teammate, starter on last year's team. I'm not here to disparage the Black community by any way. But I know what I'm looking at, and I know when I'm debating certain people, I know they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. And all they're debating is black and white. The entire debate is racially based. It's got nothing to do. I had a guy who sit here all day today, and to me, telling me that his daughter plays at Penn, and I don't know who he is. He hides behind a screen name, doesn't have a picture of himself. Whereas you can find me easily. It ain't hard. I ain't hard to find. I'm not Dion, but I'm not hard to find. So you're telling me this and calling Caitlin Clark a dirty player, that every time she got tomahawk chopped, it was because she did something before that to get tomahawk chopped or eye gouged or body checked from behind on a dead ball when the ball's not even in play, and all those things. And that she has no floater, she has no ability to drive to the basket, she has no pull-up jump shot, that she literally sucks. Like, this is an argument that was made by a guy, I'm sure it was a black man, that Caitlin Clark basically sucks. The woman who made first team all WNBA as a rookie sucks. That's delusion. And this is on a post going back and forth over this JuJu Watkins thing and the fact that the building they played in yesterday was absolutely embarrassingly empty. And yet, on the broadcast, you have a man sitting here saying, almost slipped his tongue because he was about to call her JuJu Smith-Schuster because he forgot who the hell he was watching. Sorry, you don't get a pass for that, sir. Not when you're covering the game. It is absolutely crazy. So, yeah, black fans are very well known to talk a whole lot and not go. It is what it is. But I don't think the white fans are anything special, because let's be real. Let's look at what happened last year. How many people watched the national championship? 18.5 million. How many people watched the highest rated game of the year, a Caitlin Clark game? 2.5 million in the WNBA? It didn't all transfer over to the WNBA, because there are plenty of people that don't care about the WNBA. She would have games that were in the millions last year on a weekend, last season on television, millions of viewers. She had won a regular season game. They had over 3 million viewers. They won't even post TV ratings for most of these games now for the women. They're putting them on streaming services because they know no one's watching. You think that's by accident? These are businesses. These are companies. They know what's bringing in revenue and what they can sell ad revenue on. That Flow Hoops, God bless them. Bro, that's like watching high school commentating. It's not good. And that's where you're getting a lot of women's basketball games this year. You'll get a couple next week, I know, on ESPN. Great. I'm happy to see that. Let's see how many people watch. Because these 3 days of this holiday, there's almost nothing on TV. It's all on a streaming service, while 30 men's games are on TV. I know I've dragged on a little bit long here, but this was a great video that has me going, because I can point out a whole bunch of bullshit in it, in terms of the same reason that many black men that I know were jumping on the Angel Reese bandwagon because they thought she was attractive. Because if Angel Reese was a white girl, they wouldn't think shit of Angel Reese. And they know it. They've admitted it, for Christ's sakes. They know it. They know ball. They know basketball. The door was opened up for you to know who JuJu Watkins is this year because of Caitlin Clark last year. But it's unfair, the pressure that's been put on her by national media, the fact that there was a documentary done about her. She's 19. And I haven't even seen it yet. I'm going to see it, and I'll do a commentary on it. Why would there be a documentary on a 19-year-old? That's crazy. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. So while they're right, and I will say they are right, JuJu Watkins fans are failing her. The fumble of the week. But here's the problem. She doesn't really have fans. She has media, black media primarily, trying to push a narrative that doesn't exist because they so badly want her to be the one. And she's not. Not right now. She's not. She's not a generational player. It's amazing how no one talked about turnovers. And I'm bringing this up as my last point. No one talked about turnovers until the WNBA season started. The WNBA season started. No one talked about turnovers. And yet, the second Caitlin Clark gets to the WNBA, that is the only stat that the people who hate Caitlin Clark will talk about because they can't talk about the fact that she led the league in assists, that she set the all-time mark for most assists in a season. Like they can't do it. So they have to attach something and shit on her in some way. And last year, JuJu Watkins had a game where she committed 10 turnovers. She doesn't play point guard. I never heard anyone say anything about this game. And in this game, she had 42 points. She was 18 of 18 from the free throw line, 6 of 12 from 2, 4 of 7 from 3. She had 4 rebounds and 4 assists. She had 10 turnovers. You ever heard? Did you know that? Did you ever hear that? No. Why? Because she had 42 points. And they won the game. She had another game with 7, where she finished with 32 points. They won the game. 6, they lost that game. 6, they lost that game to 6, they won that game. 7, they won that game. 6, they won that game. This is last year. And I'm not taking a dump on her for the turnovers. I'm really not. I'm showing a hypocrisy from the same people who will sit here and tell you and look you in the face and say, Caitlin Clark's trash because she turns the ball over. Well, if she's trash because she turns the ball over, this year, JuJu Watkins in the first game of the season committed 9 turnovers. Her game yesterday, she had 8 turnovers. And she had 2 assists. And in that first game, she had 9 turnovers and 4 assists. She's playing college basketball. I have no idea what Caitlin Clark's turnover numbers are from college in terms of game by game. I'm going to look it up just because. But you know what Caitlin Clark plays? Point guard. She's a point guard. The ball's in her hand the whole game. Last year, Caitlin Clark had a 12 turnover game. No bullshit. That's insane. And they won. She had a 12 turnover game, a 9 turnover game, a 9 turnover game, 6, 6, 7. Yeah, 5s. She commits turnovers. This is what it is. It is what it is. But no one ever spoke about her turnovers in college. They spoke about it the second she hit the WNBA as a way to attack her. But those same people will not speak on that with JuJu Watkins committing turnovers. They won't. And they shouldn't. Because women's basketball is different. And if you look at Caitlin there in her junior year, she had a couple of big turnover games, but she actually was cleaner with the ball as a junior. Because we know how Caitlin Clark plays. She's a daredevil. And at times it can get her team in trouble. It happened in Indiana at times. But you shouldn't speak on turnovers because women's basketball is different. Half the turnovers these women probably commit happen because their teammates can't catch a pass. That's a fact. It's a fact that people last year didn't want to accept. Did Caitlin Clark commit too many turnovers at Indiana? Absolutely. Was she credited with turnovers with teammates dropping passes? Absolutely. Many of them early on were from drop passes because they didn't catch the ball. Even if they didn't right in the fucking hands, she gets the turnover. But I wish JuJu Watkins the best. I want her to succeed. I really do. I just think what's been created for her by national media members is unfair. Media members who want her so badly to be better than Caitlin Clark. And right now, she's not. Might she be at some point? Who knows? Possibly. But this isn't even about being better. This is also about being the most watched player, the face of basketball. If I could pay to go watch a player play this year, I'd pay to watch Flau'jae Johnson. Because I think she's a dog. I love how she plays. I love her attitude. I'd pay to see Flau'jae Johnson play. Next year, I'm going to buy a plane ticket to go watch to watch Caitlin Clark play somewhere. I don't know where. I'm gonna look. We'll see. Maybe it's Dallas. Maybe it's because if Paige goes to Dallas, I'll go watch them in Dallas. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. But JuJu Watkins is not must-see TV, man. She just isn't. And I hate saying it, but it's the truth. She's not. Not right now. Maybe she'll become that. But there are things that she has to do to her game for that to happen. Because right now, her game is like games we've seen before from women basketball players for quite some time. There's nothing overly special about it. Nothing. Whether it's been Sabrina Ionescu, Maya Moore, Elena Delle Donne, Brianna Stewart, Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, Nafisa Collier. Collier in college was a good player. She's a better pro. But you go down the list of players. Where's the special? And special is shit you've never seen before. That's all I got. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope you stuck with me for this full hour and 2 minutes because this was something I wanted to hit. I appreciate the Fumble. Shout out to the Fumble. I'm going to link them in the bio. They're a much bigger page than I am, and I aspire to be at their level. I don't really know what else they talk about, if they're talking about sports or if they just talked about this particular topic. But, yeah, I agree with them that black fans don't show up for the players that they're talking shit for. But because it's really the fact that she doesn't have the fans. Those are just people that are taking a racial side. That's what it is. Because I don't see the same energy on the Paige Becker side to Caitlin Clark right now. I don't. And quite frankly, if you ask me who's the best player of all of them at this moment, whether it's Paige, JuJu, Hidalgo, or Flau'jae Johnson, I'm taking Flau'jae Johnson right now. Taking her right now. She's the best player of all of them right now. To me, my opinion. And you can, and there's data, but there's also just my opinion. That's all there is to it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, ring that bell, share this video, pound the like button. Be sure to comment. The comments make us go. Appreciate y'all. Come on now.